produces 8.71 times your force in body weight when we're running, and we still don't strengthen it correctly. If we're doing calf strengthening, usually we think of this. And while there's nothing wrong with heel raises, we're mostly strengthening our gastrocnemius because our knees are straight. Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa. I'm a physical therapist, run coach, Running Gait certified, and I'm here to help you strengthen your soleus, because if you want to run stronger, you want to run faster, you want to run more efficient, you need a strong soleus. The soleus muscle crosses the ankle, feeds into that Achilles tendon with the gastrocnemius. The only difference is the gastrocnemius is that superficial muscle. If you squeeze your calf, you're probably feeling your gastrocnemius. The soleus sits deep to the gastrocnemius, and it only crosses the ankle. So it runs up through the Achilles tendon right to behind the knee. The gastrocnemius crosses the ankle into the Achilles tendon and then crosses the knee. So if we're strengthening our calf like this and our knees are straight, we're mostly strengthening the gastrocnemius. And we want a strong gastroc, but we also want a strong soleus when we're running. As we push off the ground when we're running, that's when we think about activating our soleus the most, because we're pushing off, we're moving our momentum forward. We're in that triple extension, as we call it. So the hip is an extension, the knee is straight and extension, and then we're in that plantar flexion. Now, as we push off the ground, we definitely need a strong soleus. We need it to be powerful. But the soleus has another role. As our foot hits the ground, we want to be able to absorb the shock. If we're not able to absorb shock, we're either collapsing when our foot hits the ground, or we're increasing that load through one area of our body, which really increases your risk for injury, specifically overuse injuries. So as our foot hits the ground, we want to go into what's called Achilles stiffness. Now, this is not you feeling like your Achilles is tight. We don't want that. This is a different type of stiffness. More like if you're hitting the ground, you're able to keep your Achilles stiff so it doesn't collapse, and then you can propel yourself forward. Now, Achilles stiffness can only be measured in a gait lab, but you don't necessarily need to measure it, because we want to be working on it all the time. We want our Achilles to be stiff. We want to be able to absorb the shock and then produce power to push off the ground. Now, Achilles stiffness is something that you can work on with plyometrics. We'll go through some plyometrics at the end, but let's start with some strengthening exercises for the soleus. As I mentioned before, when we're thinking of calf raises, when we think about strengthening our calf, we usually think about heel raises. Nothing wrong with those, but I just want to add one little touch to it. So after you do your heel raises, then I want you to try these heel raises with a bent knee. When we slightly bend our knee, we're able to take gastroc out and isolate more of the soleus. We are still working our gastroc with this, but we're isolating more of the soleus. As you do this exercise, your head should be moving up and down. Your body should be going up and down. A common mistake I see with soleus heel raises is that the knees come forward, almost like this dance move. We're just putting more stress on the knee. We're not necessarily loading that tendon. So knees bent, up, down, progress by holding two weights, up, down, and then you can progress by doing a single leg heel raise. Let's go through some other sneaky ways to strengthen your soleus. So I'm gonna grab a foam roller. You can grab that, you can grab a block, and all we're gonna do is lay on our back. Toes are on the foam roller, heels are off of it, and our feet are a little bit further away from our butt compared to if we were going into a bridge position. So from here, we're trying to keep our heels up, both of them up, and we're lifting up, and we're holding. This works on the calf and hamstring co-contraction. You can probably see my heels shaking because this one is really hard. So try to hold 5 to 10 seconds for a couple sets. Staying in that bridge position, we're gonna go into a bridge with a heel raise. So go ahead and lay on your back, knees are bent. I'm gonna bring my feet a little bit further out, and all I'm gonna do, lift up into a bridge, squeezing my glutes, pelvis is flat, lift both heels up and down. You can hold to progress, hold 5-10 seconds, bring it down, or contract, relax. To progress this exercise, you can go into a single leg bridge with a heel raise. Again, our knee is bent, so we're really addressing that soleus. And then if you want to make it even harder, you can hold a weight on your pelvis. Those were 3 example strengthening exercises you can do for the soleus, but now let's go into more of that Achilles stiffness and that power. I already mentioned plyometrics. Plyometrics is really just jumping exercises, but you're trying to land and then get off the ground as quickly as possible. So there is a rhythm to it. I don't want you landing, relax, and then jump. When we're running, we're not, landing, relaxing, and then taking that stride. So we don't want to practice that outside of running too. So let's go into some double leg tempo jumps. Again, keep that rhythm. Stay light on your feet. And then to progress, you can start to move laterally, forward and backwards. And then to progress even more, you can go into single leg. Forward, backwards, and then side to side. If you want a full plan to strengthen the soleus, work on that power, work on that Achilles stiffness that is specific to running while preventing injuries, I encourage you to go through the Runner's Complete program. This is a 12-week program that works on full body mobility and strength. So it does address your soleus, it addresses the power, it addresses the strength, and I will link that below if you're interested.